Reports of security operatives surrounding the National Assembly over supposed plot to remove Senate President Godswill Akpabio has been refuted by him today. And tonight, our guest is the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu. We're talking about the governance of Lagos State. Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Wakimalo here in Abuja. Let's begin tonight by letting you know that the Vice President Kashim Shettima has been scheduled to leave Nigeria for Sweden on a 2-day visit to represent Nigeria in a bilateral engagement with the Scandinavian nation. The presidency says the Vice President during the working visit will engage in high-level bilateral talks with key government officials, including a meeting with Crown Princess Victoria of Sweden and the Swedish Prime Minister. Senator Shettima will use the visit to also explore opportunities to strengthen collaboration between Nigeria and Sweden in areas such as ICT, innovation, education, digitalization, sustainable transport, mining, and agriculture. He will meet with key stakeholders in both the government and private sectors. With the VP now gone, traveled, it means the president and his vice are actively out of the shores of the country. At the same time, the president said that in the beginning of the month that he will proceed on a leave. As that is going on, there are agitations in the National Assembly over the timing of the presentation of the 2025 budget. With just over 2 months to the end of the 2024 fiscal year, the House of Representatives has drawn attention to the violation of the Fiscal Responsibility Act by President Bola Tinubu. The House questioned the available time before the end of the year to thoroughly consider and pass the medium-term expenditure framework, MTEF. Well, tonight, our guest is the governor of Lagos State, but before I begin to speak with him, let's tell you what happened today on the floor of the National Assembly, where the Senate President Godswill Akpabio has been refuting claims to the possibility or plans by some person to remove him or some other principal officers in the National Assembly. There are reports earlier making the rounds that operatives of the different security agencies have surrounded the National Assembly complex with the plot that was in the works of removing him from office. Take a listen to him.
There is a fake news spreading on the social media that the DSS has surrounded the National Assembly to stop possible impeachment of principal officers. And we are here sitting down and doing our work very peacefully, oblivious of the mischief that is going on behind us. It's part of what we pass through on a daily basis. It's either they use AI to inject something to turn it around in order to drive traffic. I understand that they are being paid by YouTube if they have a lot of traffic. So whoever brought out this fake news must be getting a lot of payment because of the traffic going on. But I hope the public is aware that this is total fake news and that the chamber is very stable and the issue of impeachment does not come in.
Well, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Tonight, our guest is the governor of Lagos State. A state that has earned a reputation as standout state of federating units on the continent of Africa, not only in Nigeria, with the volume of business being done, the monies that come in and out, and the quantum of the economy of the state. But it appears the state is still battling with a lot of urban challenges, in which the government has promised that it will fix. Well, yesterday, the governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, inaugurated the commercial operations of the Lagos Red Line Rail, marking a significant leap forward in the city's mass transit system. The governor led the inaugural trip, departing from Oyingbo Station at about 5:20 p.m. and arrived at Ikeja Station 30-something minutes later amidst jubilation from members of the public who joined in the ride in In all of what is going on in Lagos, you see today some kind of fulfillment of what the government promised when they were campaigning. But is it exactly what Mr. Sanwo-Olu and the APC campaign last year that they were going to do, that they are doing right now? Tonight, we begin our conversation with the Executive Governor of Lagos, Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who is live for us in Marina area of Lagos. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Sean, for having me. It's an honor to be on your program again this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. I'm seeing some good news for Lagos because if Lagos is being now ranked above Miami and some big cities of the world as one of the cities that one could actually have a good time at night. In terms of nightlife, Lagos was being ranked high alongside Ghana. Interestingly, how does this make you? Nightlife, fantastic, but we'll come to daytime life in Lagos. But let's start from the one that is the good news. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, Sean, thank you. And it's something that we've been working on for a while now. We know that for you to live in a massive city like this, it comes with a whole lot of responsibility. The city has to be alive. The city has to work almost 24/7. The city has to be a place where people can commune, people can do business, people can have a work-life balance. It should be a city where people can move from one part of the city to another without any hindrance. So we think the good news is actually both, the nightlife and also the daylight, and more importantly, people also have to feel safe, at night. People must feel that they can go to different parts of the city, feel safe, before, during, and after whatever visit they have, and they'll be able to go back home safely. That for us, it's not just jubilation, but it's just say to us that there's some bit of our job that have been recognized. But what that puts to us is that we need to do more, because the easy part for you is to get it done. But the more difficult work for you is to sustain it and make sure that you continue to remain relevant. You continue to open up, all avenues where both, international and local visitors can feel safe, can have a business that they're doing at night. But more importantly, we can continue to let the economy of Lagos, which is the biggest in Africa, continue to roll and continue to move well. A 12-hour economy will never do justice to a big city like this. In major big cities, it has to be close to 24 hours, 18 hours at the minimum. So the nightlife of Lagos is part of the economy of Lagos, is part of the kind of things that will make Lagos not only a resilient city, but will make it a livable city. It will make it a city that can compare with a size, with a number, of other mega cities that you have all around the world. So, I mean, yeah, you say kudos on that, but for us, it's really just to ensure that our job, we'll continue to push it, we'll continue to raise the bar, we'll continue to ensure that all of our first respondents, are up to the bill. They can come out at whatever time in the night and they can respond. If you have an emergency, you can ensure that police are working, fire service are working, our emergency response team are working. We have doctors in the hospital. Those are the things that make a city work. And those are the things that are also important in the life of any city. So yes, we take it, we'll pop a bit of wine to that, but what it tells to me is that we need to continue to do, that which, we're doing and continue to do it well. So that's really what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to know that Lagos was ranked higher than Miami and Dubai. These are some of the hottest spots across the globe in terms of tourism and in terms of nightlife. And now this is happening. And when we wonder, what exactly have you noticed? Because if you look at it, Lagos, of course, ranks higher than any other state of the Federation. As of 2021, about $8 billion is being accounted as the capital inflow into Lagos. As of Q1 of 2024, Lagos has raked in about $2.8 million already. But the question will be that the value of the naira is one thing. There are those who will question what exactly is Lagos putting on the ground to encourage not only nightlife, but also some kind of tourism. But I'd like to ask you, you are in your second time in office. If you mention the biggest cities of the world, Miami, Dubai, Paris, London, Florida, there are things that are very unique to these cities. What do you imagine that you want Lagos to be noted for? And I imagine that the founders of Lagos or those who have governed Lagos before now may have different ideas. But for someone who is at the helm of affairs, with all of this inflow and the kind of reputation that Lagos has, Lagos needs to have an identity. What is your dream identity for Lagos?
Thank you very much, Seun. I mean, the dream identity would be a Lagos that truly works for everyone. You know, a Lagos where you can have predictable journey time. You can come out of your house or your office and be able to safely say that in 30 minutes, in 35 minutes, plus or minus 5 minutes, right, you can get to a predictable destination. A Lagos that encourages all the creative capabilities, all the creative minds that it has. A Lagos where the strength is in its people, you know, the social life, the creative world, you know, the people that are about ensuring that you don't have to stop at creativity. You know, a Lagos where you expect safety and security to be paramount, to be alive to its responsibility. A Lagos where the financial sector, the financial transactions, you know, are continuing to blossom and to grow well. A Lagos where you see businesses, you know, both small, medium, and large corporate, you know, see it as home, see it as a place where their staff are safe, where their businesses continue to thrive, where there is the enabling environment, where government continue to provide an enabling environment for businesses to thrive and to do well. You know, these are the kind of vision that I have, you know, to make Lagos truly, really a resilient, you know, workable city for everybody, you know, that comes in. But, you know, there's some little part of it, which is the explosion and the population, which we could talk about, I mean, later. But quite frankly, it's a Lagos that, you know, has an effective, efficient public transportation system that is working, that is reliable, and that is safe. You know, a Lagos in which the nightlife, the creative souls, you know, the entertainment, the fashion, the food of Lagos are alive, you know, are being encouraged, you know, and is unique to the environment. That's the Lagos that will blossom. That was the Lagos that will outlive all of us. You know, we keep talking about, you know, Eko Bagbero, and it's real. You know, you come to Lagos, if you are hardworking, you will do well. You will do well and you reap the benefit of Lagos. You know, so it's a place where you really can, if you know the numbers, you can pick money on the street of Lagos. You know, the population is ripe. You know, the intelligence, the knowledge are phenomenal. You know, and the ability of the people to think, to innovate, are one of the things that makes it stand out. You know, so when you also talk about Miami and Dubai and the rest of it, you know, you need to be able to compare the size, the sheer number. Today, in the whole of UAE, is pretty much maybe under 5 million people. So that is 4 or 5 local governments in Lagos. So if you look at it with the sheer number and the sheer size, it has to be Lagos being compared to New York, to Los Angeles, to Bombay, to New Delhi. You know, those are kind of, and when you put those parameters there, then Lagos indeed has earned its place, has earned its proper place, you know, in the size and demography, being a mega city, you know, status that it truly, really is. So that's the kind of vision that I have. A Lagos that one will expect, you know, that whatever the energy you have, Lagos can help you project that energy positively. Lagos can help you, you know, realize your dream, you know, in all areas. Creative industry, entertainment industry, fashion industry, business, you know, likes, small and medium enterprises. Everything needs to work and work well. And what is our responsibility? Provide security for the people, provide public transportation for the people, have an enabling, you know, health facility that works, have public schools where people have choices of what they need to do and where they need to go. Those are what government needs to do to continue to make the city, you know, work for itself. Leave the others for people to turn around and make things move. Government is not meant to crowd businesses. No. Government is not meant to hinder businesses. No. Government is supposed to be an enabler, a government that opens up, its arms and help its citizens to realize their full potential. That's the Lagos that we want to see. That's the Lagos we want to leave behind here when we leave in 2.5 years' time.
That's a very lofty dream, actually. But there are those who live in Lagos, work in Lagos, and still have the pain. It does look to them like traffic has become a part of their life. I know we're coming to transportation either water or by rail, and I know you have dreams of the red. It's already happening. The red and the blue line. The blue purple and the green purple is coming. But let's talk about traffic. That congestion is usually head aching. And there are a lot of people who live on the mainland, they're in some interior part of mainland, who work on the island, and they have to commit several hours, stay in traffic. Can you give them some good news on what to do, or what your government is planning to ease traffic congestion in Lagos? That has been age-long problem in Lagos, Governor Sanwo-Olu.
Well, thank you. First is you need to compare apple with apple. I took a trip to New York less than 18 months ago, right? And it took us 30 minutes to do 6 blocks. Just 6 blocks, less than a kilometer over. It took 30 minutes to do it. That's New York for you. So Lagos has similar demography, right? So if you go to Bombay in India, it has similar demography. If you go to Istanbul in Turkey, it has similar demography. So the number of buses and vehicles you see also on the road is a measure of also the economic value of the citizens. But what is government meant to do? Government is meant to intervene in what you call mass urban transportation system. And for us in Lagos, we're playing in all of the strata. We've developed a robust integrated urban mass transportation system in rail, in BRT buses, on the waterways that has about 23 to 25% of our total land mass, in taxis, in last mile buses, and in all possible public transportation that people need to move on, right? You talked about the rail. Essentially, if you look at both the red line and the blue line, they're very strategic, in identifying where the corridors are, where the population is. The red line moves from south to north, from Uigbo in the south, straight up to north, up to Agbado. We're very creative. We didn't let it stop at Iju, which is inside Lagos. We actually pushed it all the way to Agbado, which is inside, Ogun State. It's almost a 29-kilometer rail corridor. The blue line, for example, is on the western part of Lagos, moving from Marina, going all the way westernward towards, Okokomaiko. Right now is at mile 2, and the phase 2 to get it to Okokomaiko is also. So that's western part of it. The eastern part of Lagos is the green line, which just started the MOU, which now move you from Lekki or Victoria Island, move towards the Epe axis. So you can see that in terms of a strategic composition, we're thinking of the western part, we're thinking of the eastern part, we're thinking of the north-south part. That's where the population is, right? So that's what the rail does. All of our intervention in waterways, let's look at all the corridors that have water transportation from Ibeshe, in Ikorodu, straight to, you can say Falomo, or you can say Baduri, just cross from Ikorodu, to Baduri. You can say from Ojo, in Oriade local government, you can come all the way to Liverpool, you can come from Liverpool, you can come all the way to Marina, and you also can go to Falomo. So you have all of those choices and all of those options, both on the waterways and both on the rail corridors that we're developing. On the one that you talked about, which is the one that we all see every day, is just the road transportation. On the road transportation, because people still don't understand that there are options for them. That's where you see the pressure on the 3 bridges that connects the mainland to the island. The Third Mainland Bridge, the Kada Bridge, and of course the Eco Bridge. So you see a lot of pressure on them. Part of the things that we're trying to do is where are they coming from? The red line, for example, if I go back to that, is taking you all the way from Agbado. From Agbado, it connects to Iju, which is the heart, of Ifako-Ijaiye. From Iju, it will take you to Agege, right? Agege, out of Agege local government. From Agege, it takes you to Ikeja. From Ikeja, it takes you to the all-important Oshodi. So you can imagine the aggregate of passengers that is picking up from Oshodi. It takes you to Mushi. My people in Mushi they are looking forward to it. They are excited. From Mushi, it takes you to Yaba. We growing up, Yaba looks as the centerpiece. From Yaba, it takes you to Ebute-Metta. So eventually, that rail corridor has clearly solved a lot of road transportation issues. A journey that either two will take you 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Now you can do it in under 1 hour. When we started the journey yesterday, it took us 36 minutes from Ebute-Metta all the way to Ikeja when we came down. It's going to be another 7 to 9 minutes to take you to Agbado. So it's a phenomenon. It's a game changer, for us, and we believe. Yes,
if I may jump in quickly, for those who imagine that, in all of the states of the Federation, Lagos will stand as a model state. And one will almost refer to Lagos as though is one town or one city, because every of the communities in Lagos are now intertwined, and you see people moving from one place to the other, albeit with some of the difficulties. But if you look at some of the cities that you mentioned, in New York, for example, in the heart of London, the tubes and all the other kind of transportation are being used effectively. There are those who will say, yes, some of these rail transportation are probably looking elitist. And those who are in the lowest of the society need to be able to be captured into it. So I want to know tonight, Governor, how are you able to capture the people in the lower cadre of the society such that that infrastructure is not only for the middle class and the upper class of the strata? And imagine, Governor, with the kind of water that Lagos has, water transportation is still far from the effectiveness that you will see. In London, New York that you mentioned, there are deterrents for people to bring their vehicle to mainstream, to the main town, to the center of town. And these are policies to help the rail transportation work better. What are you thinking? What figures do you have in terms of the effectiveness of these transportation alternatives?
Well, thank you very much, Phil. And I think it's about time you leave Abuja and come to Lagos, and let's go on this famous ride. And you'll be able to see it. I mentioned from Agbado. I didn't mention Victoria Land. I didn't mention Lekki. I didn't mention Ikorodu. Agbado. That's where my people are. Agbado, Iju. That's where, the vulnerable set of this population, that's where they are. That's where they reside. Agege, that's them. Mushi, that's where they live. Oshodi, that's really where.
Is the cost, corridor the price of the cost of the transportation, Governor? What is the cost?
Okay, so
with the current economic realities,
So it's a differential pricing. It's not one price, fixed price. That you need. If you take off from Ebute-Metta, for example, by the time you've do 3-4 stops, I think the total price is about 800 to 850 naira. But if you take the whole journey to the end to Agbado, it's 1,500. But so if you measure that, and you take a train in UK that you mentioned, right, and you do 6 stops, you realize that the cheapest you could get is £6. £6 today, given the exchange rate, is what? Almost 10,000 naira. Don't let's even do the conversion. It will be way out of here. So let's keep quiet. Because £1 today, if you put it, is about $1. Sorry, 1,500 is about $1. 1,500 is less than £1. But don't even let us, because they are two different economies. I don't want to put naira and dollar, and that's not how I'm being trained. But the reality is to look at, the GDP of our people, their earning capacity, and be able to reflect, on what we need to do to help them. So it's 1,500, right, from Ebute-Metta all the way to Agbado. It will crisscross minimum of 10 local government. Minimum of 10 local government. If you need to take an alternative and go on other routes, there's clearly no way that you spend anything less than 2,000, 2,500. But even at that, the plan is for us to start this, right, and we will do the tests. right? Once we're able to guarantee, what our minimum threshold is, it's not impossible for me a month from today to even bring it down another 15-20%. You will remember that when we started the blue line, which started with about 800 now from Marina all the way to Mile 2, I brought it down, by about 20-25%, and today we've carried close to 3 million people on that rail corridor on the blue line, right? So similar thing will happen, but this one is the longer route. It has more station and it's a longer route. So in terms of affordability, that it's critical for us. It's for the vulnerable, it's for the lower market, and it's also for the middle upper, because train services, like everywhere in the world, people need to also drop their cars and have the opportunity to also ride on it, because it's faster and it's quicker for them. They also don't want to stay in traffic. They don't want to hold on to their steering for an hour and a half. So it's for everyone. It's for, and on the red line, for example, you also have a space to carry some bit of a load. So it's also been provided, for them. So in terms of affordability, you can test it that I'm a people's governor, I'm a people's person. If you think or if you feel that the numbers are way out, I'll be the first person that will readjust that. So, but from the indices that we've seen, we believe it's market, it reflects a fair market, it reflects a very, very fair market. It's not covering and all of our costs. Yeah. That's not the point.
Yeah. If we stay on transportation and commuting, we might not live here today because it's a major factor in Lagos. But I'm imagining, because if you take me to the issue of minimum wage, whether or not you are going to give concession in terms of the cost of the transportation to students, to the vulnerable, to the elderly, and to perhaps government workers, in how much because they commute more because of the daily transportation. Maybe you can give some incentive. The question is that you talked about, in our pre-chat, you talked about the green line and the purple line. Quickly, before I go into the welfare of the people of Lagos.
Okay, so the green line is a line that will move now from on the western or the eastern part of Lagos. It will move all the way from Marina here, go through Lekki, and go all the way towards the refinery, which is on the Lekki Express Road. That's the green line. Fortunately, we signed an MOU with MOFI, Ministry of Finance Incorporated, and Czech, which is a Chinese consortium, and we're working with them. We've since come back from China and we've started conversation. We've done some due diligence in terms of, feasibility and viability study. So it's really for MOFI to sit with us, and design the model for the infrastructure, and we're ready to go. The purple line, right? Incidentally, we're also planning to sign, a deal book sometime before the end of the year in November or December. AFDB is extremely very, interested in that. They're planning to put a club of funders for us. So the purple line is supposed to move from, I think from Iba Junction all the way to Mowe. So that one will crisscross inside the whole of Alimosho, right? And it will bust out, at the end of Alimosho towards the end of Ojodu and move all the way to Mowe. So you can see that we have plans for everyone. I think it's the yellow that goes towards Ikorodu, and so every part of Lagos, given the 6 integrated rail transit system, must touch, all of the 5 divisions of Lagos in one critical form, or the other. So we have on the deal, the green line, which will sign an MOU. We plan also for the purple line before the end of the year. We'll hope that we'll get a club of investors that will also be able to sign up for us. And once that is done, it's really to break ground and start, construction. So you also mentioned around minimum wage and what do I need to throw in for my people. I'm glad to let you know that the minimum wage for Lagos, which we've conversed and discussed with our union, right, is 85,000 naira today now. So, I mean, it's not a competition. So I'm not going to say that we're paying more than some other people. It's a function of affordability and it's a function of capacity. But we know too well that when people live in Lagos, Lagos has a premium in terms of even the cost, of living. And so we are fully aware. We actually increased, our salary earlier in the year, and deserving so for our staff, and we'll continue to do that. Shehu, I would want to come back to you in January and say to you that I've been able to increase the minimum wage of Lagos to 100,000, not because I want to make anybody look bad. It's really because I want my people to have a living wage. I want them to truly, really be able to know that the government is working for them. We'll tight up places where we don't need, those kind of expenses, and be able to give them, commensurate things that will take them home, not drop them at the bus stop from the station, take them really home. So that's the kind of plan that we have, for them. And you also know that right now we're also doing differentiated timing, for our civil servant and our public workers in Lagos State.
Interesting, because I was going to come to other factors that a lot of Lagosians complain about. The high cost of paying rent. And some landlords ask for 2 years and ask for different kind of rates and all of those issues. But quickly, I'd like to know, Governor, I know that the Fort Mainland Bridge is dear to you, and you have talked about how much you want the Fort Mainland Bridge to happen. In fact, we thought that by now, the Fort Mainland Bridge would have been almost done. Also, there are these two infrastructure, Fort Mainland Bridge and the airport, the alternative airport, which we assume also is going to be around the Lekki axis. What is delaying these two projects? Any update on them?
Joe, it's money. You said
I'll give you some. I'll give you some if you don't mind.
No, well, we don't mind. It's just that yours will not take us very far. You are not a very wealthy investor. Yeah. But I will explain to you what have we done. We've baked those transactions to make them attractive. We've designed those models to make them investor attractive. And we've done everything regarding the Fourth Mainland Bridge. And I also need to thank Mr. President, especially an alternative on the Lagos-Calabar Highway, which will run parallel, from Amadu, will run parallel on the Atlantic Ocean towards the free trade zone. So we have the Lekki-Epe Expressway, which is in the middle, right? The plan is for us to have what we call a lagoon highway on the farthest parts, of the Lekki Peninsula, which will also run towards Epe. So the Fourth Mainland Bridge is supposed to be from Aja and just cross to Ibeshe in Ikorodu. And we've done extensive work. The alignment, everything has been concluded, the hydrographic study, the viability study, the feasibility studies, everything is on the table. It's just show me the money. And you see, for me, we have to live responsibly. We know what the buckets of the numbers are. So we've had concessionaires who we've sat with. Unfortunately, I must say this, also in the air, the kind of request that they're asking of us, we cannot grant it. They're asking for a sovereign guarantee. I'm a subnational, I'm not a sovereign, so it's a difficult call. I cannot just walk to Honorable Minister of Finance and say, give me a sovereign guarantee. It doesn't work like that. It has to be negotiated. It has to be something that they also need to carry in their bucket. So it's a fairly long, conversation for you to get to that. So we're looking for other means, of agreeing, on how to take that forward. With the airport, that's a more fairly straightforward, investment decision. So we want to have our skin in the game. We're planning to also be able to raise investment, but we need to also work with the federal government. So we have meetings planned out with FAN, with NCAA, with the Federal Minister of Aviation. We have approval, they've given to us, but it's more than approval. There are some basal rules, there's some engagement that needs to take place. We know that it's viable, we know that it's needed in that part of the city, given the development that is happening there, given the investment that I've seen even coming there. But it's not just about us. It's about a full conversation with our regulators, with our federal government, and ensure that even investors feel comfortable, that they have all the regulatory approvals before we move on. So we've gone around, we've done a bit of a roadshow, we've done a bit of engagement to be able to attract, FDIs, so that they'll see the viability and they see, why it's important for Lagos to have this and to have it like yesterday.
Governor,
so there are conversations that we need to.
Yeah, Governor, in all of these ideas, there are the fears of some Lagosians who think that you need to be careful in the quantum of debt. Lagos stands as the highest debtor, either foreign or local debt, amongst the federating states and the federating units. And they are worried now, all of these projects you're talking about, you're already mentioning how you're looking for money to borrow, and the fear. What can you tell Lagosians now? those who feel that Lagos is already in huge debt, and you're talking about this funding and talking about getting funding, the one that you have signed and the one that you're yet to sign.
So Sheon, let's use the proper word. When you say huge debt, there's a difference between a huge debt and an affordable debt, in which you look at, you look at your funding ratio, your funding structure, you look at your ability to pay. And I'll give you a simple example. Why did it take us this long before we could complete the blue line? And why did we start the red line and we've been able to complete it, in less than 3 years? It's the audacity of the power of you can do. If after COVID in 2020, we did not take the leap of faith to say that we wanted to do it, today, if you had attempted to want to do any of those infrastructure, not only will it be 4 times the price, you will never be able to do it. If you lose a chance yesterday, today is the next best chance for you. If you leave it, if you don't do it, then you don't have any opportunity to do it. We have a strong conviction in our mind. We know that our people deserving of it. We know that we're doing the right thing. In terms of the death, so the ability of Lagos to also carry this thing, we're not reckless. That's why
but
I
what's
just
the
didn't
ratio
tell you that
of debt to GDP, Governor Sanwo-Olu? That's one way we can measure whether Lagos is coping and Lagos is all right. His head is hanging properly, proportionately on his neck.
Absolutely, I can tell you, and you can see my neck, and my neck is hanging adequately. So the debt, ratio that we're meant to meet standardly is about 40%, right? Today we're less than 30%, we're about 29 or 28% of those numbers, right? So we're not even close to it. If you see what our budget growth has been in the last 5 years, when we came in, we inherited a budget of about 620 billion. Today, Lagos State is doing 2.3 trillion. We're probably going to close this year's budget at about 2.5 trillion. Next year, we intend to do 3 trillion. So if you cannot imagine it, if you cannot dream it, you can also not see it. We've tripled the size of the budget of this state. And mind you, Sheon, year on year, we're doing 94% budget performance. This year alone, we're well over 90%. With the support of our House of Assembly, where we transparently show them what we're doing, as partners in this, we have to dream it. We have to be able to take these states, and you said it, we have to be able to provide security, we have to be able to build infrastructure that can withstand, that can help, to build this state into a place where all of us will be proud. Like I keep saying, you stayed in Abuja for too long. You need to come here over a weekend and let's take a ride round, right? So we will never be reckless, All of our funding model, there's a lot of creativity to it, right? And let me just say the last one. Part of the things that we will not sign up for any of those things, see what the interest rate is doing, 30, 28%. Nobody's going to touch that. We're a public finance establishment, right? We deal only the single digit interest rate. So we're waiting. Strategically, we're waiting. On all of the fundings that we're doing on those big infrastructure, they're single digit. And it's very creative. But we needed to plan, we needed to have the ability and the capacity to show our funders, that we can take it. And to date, we've been successful about it.
All right, Governor Sanwo-Olu, we are due for a break. We'll go on a break, and when we come back, there's so much more for us to touch on in the governance of Lagos State. Affordable housing, the issues of security, and perhaps schools, education, hospitals, and medical provision for the people of Lagos State. How far has the APC and the Sanwo-Olu-led administration gone in all of these promises and performance delivery? We'll be right back to continue our conversation. We'll be right back, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, is being a guest on the program tonight. We're having conversation with him on the governance of Lagos State. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for being with us tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me quickly get to the interest of some of the children and pupils in Lagos. The increase in the school fees from 33,000 to 100,000 for some secondary school is really bothering and is worrisome for some parents. Is there anything you are able to do? Because that caused a lot of stir and uproar in Lagos. Why And a lot of people will ask questions in these very difficult economic times, Governor.
Well, thank you, Shehu. So let's just get it right. We increase boarding school in our model schools. What are the numbers? It's less than 1.5% of our population. We've got over 600 schools, and we have 33 model schools. It's in those model schools that we've increased boarding, not even the whole, school students, pupils in that school. It's just a smaller fraction, less than 50% of even the population in those model schools that have asked, for boarding facilities that we've asked to increase. And you're talking of we taking over the responsibility, full responsibility of their pupils, of their children in our boarding facility. Year on year out, I spend money refurbishing, the beds, the hostels, to make those boarding facilities conducive for those children. What we're asking of them is not the fiscal infrastructure. It's just the cost to feed them. To feed them for the 3 months or for the 6 months that they're going to be with us. So in terms of, it's not any number to talk about the pupils in Lagos State. Like I said, it's less than 2%. Less than 2%. We've got over 600 schools in Lagos State that are all public schools. The model schools are just 33 or 34 of them. So it is half of that, even 33, that are boarding.
The population of people affected.
It's nothing close to it at all.
The population of people affected are also same people who are also bearing the brunt of the economic hardship of the country. And they're wondering at this time, is it possible that there might be some consideration? Because the economy is hard, things are tough.
Okay. So if I leave it at zero and I now have an upsurge in people wanting to remain in boarding facility, and I cannot keep it, so we need to trade off. We need to be able to trade off. So in terms of the numbers, they're less than 2,000 or so. It's so small, that it's not in any form a responsibility that we needed to also put ourselves in. And I've just explained to you that the cost has nothing to do with the infrastructure. We rebuilt the hostels, we fixed all the beddings, we put, nets there. We do everything to make sure that every time they go back and they come in, the place is ready to receive them again. Right? So if we are now taking that body, we have helped you to ensure that the responsibility from 2 o'clock to the next day they're supposed to take for your people is on the responsibility of the house masters and house mistresses. And we're saying this is just for them. Let's do the numbers. It's just to feed them. It's just to ensure that at least they are not coming back home with kwashoko. They're not looking, less healthier than you left them with us. We're not asking you for any other thing. We provide security, we provide lights, we provide, beddings, we provide every other thing for them. So, it's really a painful thing. We've built more schools in the last 5 years than in the previous 10 years. It's not anything. As I'm speaking to you today, I have about 15 schools to commission. 15 that have all been completed just to hand over, and just to give to the people. So really for us, it's about improving the physical infrastructure and the training and learning environment of these pupils. And that's our primary goal. That's our primary aim. You can see the pictures of some of those schools. So we're giving them top-notch infrastructure.
Governor.
So if you now want us to take that additional burden of putting them in boarding school, right? Look at the population. Like I said, the population is less than 1.5% of our student population that are in boarding.
Well, Governor, let me quickly ask you about the issue of the shanties that the government is clamping down on. That those will be asking the question, what is building control, building development? What were they looking at when these people were developing and going into these communities? These so-called illegal buildings that the government is bringing down, and the demolitions that are saying a lot of people who have spent a lot of money building these, albeit, illegal. But then the question is that some of them say they got the permits from people working in the ministry. But what is the Lagos State Building Control and those who are supposed to be in charge? What were they looking at and putting more pains for people who are living in the very low strata of the society. Governor, is there anything you are doing in that respect to curb and stop those kind of things that some people have died from heart attack because their buildings have been demolished?
Okay, so thank you very much, Seun, again. So, it's emotional, and I can feel it. But, sometimes this job is not with emotion. It's with reality and with facts, So the places you mentioned, that are shanties, you've also defined them. But we know that almost in every urban cities in the world, there are what we call blighted areas. There are areas where there are really, really, really low income earners that are living there. And so we appreciate that. Have you seen us touch Makoko since we came into government? No. Have we seen us touch Bariga? No. Because we realize and we appreciate that there is also a right to live in some of those places. The ones that you probably are talking about will be people, for example, that are staying on transmission lines that have been designated as unsafe zone, that they don't have any reason to be there, or they are on an acquired land for some other uses, in which, because government are not ready, or the private people are not ready to use the place, people just jump on it and build shades, in which, when it's now time to use the places, they will go back, get the necessary approvals, and they will ask to leave. 2 days ago, was it yesterday, there was a building that collapsed in Orile. I'm sure you saw it. That building, we've marked it down, we've evacuated people there a week and a half ago. There was a lot of emotion crying here that, no, we were aware of it. And so there are 14 others in that old neighborhood that we have asked people to leave, that we have marked. They're going to go down. So sometimes it's a tough job, but it's a job that you have to do with human face, but with understanding. So what we do is, before we do any demolition, we typically first take the men of the third hectares of rep, your colleagues, we take them on site to some of those places, let them see, let them feel it, and let them understand what we need to do. Show the picture you're showing, for example, the one that happened at Odoyalaro, you saw what we're doing at Odoyalaro. It's a drainage alignment that we're trying to build. And I said to my people, if you don't need more than 30 meters to do your drainage alignment, don't ask for 100 meters. Don't ask anybody for 70 meters. It's 30 meters you require for your drainage alignment. That's what you need to keep. And the master plan, it's there. With this particular picture that you show, they will show evidence that they what we call the flight coordinates. The coordinates that were there, it's not the coordinate that is right in the middle of the drainage you want to do. And so they've been told, times that, government, sometimes I will agree, we might not be that fast to respond to things, but we will come when we're ready to do it. See what we're doing at Odoyalaro. Is that not, something that you will see infrastructure at the highest level, at the best level, connecting a road infrastructure all the way from Toyin Street that will take you down all the way to Third Mainland Bridge, to Ogudu. So for you to do all of that, the right of way must be there.
All right.
People tell me that everybody wants a bridge, but it's just that nobody wants it in front of his house.
All
That's
right.
what we need to deal with.
Yeah, because
it's a tough job.
Yeah.
So, yes.
I'm hoping that we might be able to push this program longer than our usual timing. I'm just hoping that maybe we can be able to do that. But quickly, Governor, because of the time we have left, the issue of the roads, there are a lot of roads that are becoming impassable in Lagos. They are just terrible. And there are people in Ikorodu, in Igbogbo, in Agric, in Ishawo, who are wondering if they have been left out. The thinking about maintenance of the road. Yes, we understand that almost 40 roads are due for you to commission them, but the existing ones are getting worse by the day. What happened to the maintenance of these roads? Have you forgotten the people of Ikorodu?
Sheung, I will go back. I will go back to your exact Ikorodu. You mentioned Agric Ishawo, you mentioned Igbogbo. These are roads that we're doing currently. Agric Ishawo will be one of the best roads in Ikorodu that we're doing. Igbogbo, yes, we'll be there for a while. Yes, I'll take responsibility. What we did with Igbogbo, in fairness, was that we took an alignment that is fairly bigger than the road that we needed. Right? And so when you take over a government, you take over both the assets and the liability. So that's the thing we're trying to correct. but we're on Igbogo Bayeku to Ibeshe. We are doing it. We have almost completed it. Berigbe, we've done Iweleku to Berigbe. We're continuing that road. They will tell you we're continuing that road. And it's marvelous. One of the best contractors that are doing. CCCC is on Agri-Kishawa that you mentioned. It's being done as we speak. We're cleaning up the entire Itailewa, roundabout in Ikorodu. Ikorodu is there to us. And so we're working in Ikorodu. We've been there. We've completed, the road that goes to the terminal before you get to the terminal, before you get to Ibeshe. We've completed that one. It's usually called I've forgotten the name now. But we've done it up. It's all brand new. So Igbogo, we're on it. Agri-Kishawa, we're on it. We're on almost every local government in Lagos. As we're in VI and Ikoyi, we're in Ojo, we're in Old Navy Town Road, we're in Abaranjo in Ikotun, we're in Obade Fada in Ifako, we're in the other one in Animosho. Every single part. We're in Badagry.
So, Governor, I have just 60 seconds for us to close this conversation. But there are two very important things that I'd like you to touch on. Just in that 60 seconds, I don't know how you like to do it. The census has not happened. In a city like Lagos, how do you plan? The other part is that things are difficult for people. Any succor for the people of Lagos, the average person who may not be able to have hope of what to feed on tomorrow. If you can attend to these two questions just before we close.
Thank you, Sheung. Just yesterday, we were at a summit, a fiscal planning summit, and we were lucky to bring my brother, the former governor of Lagos State, Babatunde Fashola. He was actually the keynote speaker. And what were we talking about? We're talking about urban planning of Lagos. It was a summit for yesterday and today, and I was there with them yesterday. And I pledged and I promised that on all of our commitments, he even recommended to us that we should reduce the cost of planning permit, and that we should now take that on land use charge. I even said to them that we're going to reduce it. This was just yesterday at the summit in which we feel the pain. We understand, but what we're asking people to do is also not to be reckless. It's also for them to be patient. People also have taken laws into their hand. They do not want to wait and get the requisite approvals before they build. People will get you approval that they're going to do 4 flats. They'll end up doing 8 flats. Why would you see a building collapse in Victoria Land? You see a building collapse in Agege. You see a building collapse in Ijayi. It's because people are not meeting with the regulation. The subsoil in Lagos is a soft soil. You need a lot of control. You need a lot of understanding. You need a lot of study to understand what is on the ground before you build. So I want to appeal to my people. I don't even have time to talk about agri, which is food security, which is important for us. But I want to appeal to my people that this government is their government. It's a government that is committed at ensuring that, people's first. But let us work it. Let us, converse this thing together. Yes, we will have a few, bad eggs here and there, which is normal, but they're Nigerians, they're Lagosians. So we need to be able to deal with it. And that one of the things we tell to people, speak out. If you see something wrong, say it. My email is available. My telephone number is available. Escalate it to me. I will deal with it.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, I wanted to take these two and the next half hour, but I don't know. But that's how far we can go tonight. Thank you so much indeed, the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Thank you so much indeed for your time tonight, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much, Sean. Thank you very much for having me.
That's our show for tonight, man. Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Sean Kimale. God bless Nigeria.